Yo, what's going on, YouTube, and welcome back to Goal Line Hockey. It's your boy, Kevin Forte, and today we're taking a look at the latest on the trade block. This is our first time going over the trade block, and this is our first update going into this season. So, we're going to be going over that today. So, there's a couple of interesting names on this board. Some of them you've heard of already, and some are fairly new to the little circle here. So, this is from Jimmy Murphy of the Pittsburgh Hockey Now. After talking to people around the league, a look at 3 forwards and 3 defensemen that could be on the trade block. So, we're going to start off with the forwards. So, Brock Boeser is on the list, and that's why I'm wearing the Canucks jersey today. The Vancouver Canucks. He may have been available since the offseason. He carries a $5.8 million cap hit and is a pending restricted free agent. So, kind of makes you wonder with some of his injury issues and stuff like that, and obviously his performance at times, what is the value of Brock Boeser? Because right now he's making 5.8. He's probably looking for somewhere between 6.5 to 7 in his next deal, because he's probably looking for a pay raise. The question is, what team would be willing to give him that? And I think there are definitely going to be some teams in on that mix. But Brock Boeser is on the trade block. And I figured that we'd start things off with a bang with Brock Boeser. Ryan Strome of the New York Rangers. This is not a new name in any sense. He may have been available since the offseason. The New York Rangers, 28-year-old, has been available for a while now, like I just mentioned. The Rangers have been looking for a middle six forward, pending UFA with a $4.5 million cap hit. I'm sure plenty of teams would be interested in him on a 1-year deal. I wonder if the Minnesota Wild would be a team looking for some center depth to add on their cup run potentially. Maybe a guy like Ryan Strome comes in fairly cheap, doesn't cost them too big of prospects. It could be a nice addition down the middle. And then the other forward is Phil Kessel, again from the Arizona Coyotes. He carries a $6.8 million cap hit, and the Coyotes may need to retain salary as this is not the final year of his deal. I'm pretty sure it's not. So Phil Kessel would be a tough one to move, again, because it's almost $7 million cap hit, and if you're sending him to a team, you're probably sending him to a contender, which probably doesn't have that $7 million to just take on. So I'd assume that the Coyotes would be willing to take on that salary cap, considering how close to the cap floor they are. So we could see something in the works there that ends up working out for both sides. Again, another name that we have not been, this is a name we've heard about, but figured I'd throw him out there. Now we move on to some defensemen. We have a trio of defensemen. We have Will Butcher of the Buffalo Sabres. The 26-year-old is a pending free agent with a $3.7 million cap hit and a $2.8 million salary. So the cap hit is a little bit higher than his actual salary, so some teams may be willing to take that on, as long as they have the cap space. But again, this could be a situation where I think on a 1-year deal, the Buffalo Sabres would be willing to retain salary on this 1-year deal. It's a little different than the Jack Eichel thing in retaining salary. This one, I could see them for the rest of the season retaining it, maybe getting a decent, maybe middle round draft pick, a 4th, a 3rd, maybe if he does really well, a 2nd. But I think that's asking for a lot there from Will Butcher. Olli Maatta of the Los Angeles Kings, the 27-year-old will be a free agent and carries a $4 million cap hit. Now, Olli Maatta is going to be interesting because of where he may fit. He's definitely not going to get $4 million on his next deal. I just don't see it. Olli Maatta is a former first-round pick, a guy that a lot of people thought in Pittsburgh could be the next great defenseman to play alongside Chris Letang. Now, things didn't necessarily work out that way. He's bounced around the league a lot. Olli Maatta was with the Chicago Blackhawks for a little while, got traded to the LA Kings since his time in Pittsburgh, and has just not really found a fit where he's been. So, again, injuries have plagued him for most of his career, but his play on the ice hasn't been that great either. And then Brayden McNabb of the Vegas Golden Knights. The Vegas Golden Knights will need to move some salary when Jack Eichel is ready to return. The 31-year-old carries a $2.5 million cap hit and will be an unrestricted free agent this summer. I could see the Islanders going after a guy like Brayden McNabb. I think he's a guy that fits the Islanders' mold in terms of a bigger defenseman, not afraid to get rough in the corners or in front of the net. A big, greasy, tough to play against D-man. I think Brayden McNabb could be a great addition to the Islanders, or any team for that matter that's looking to add some grit on the back end. I wonder if depending on how things go for the Flames, I wouldn't be surprised if the Calgary Flames got in the mix for Brady McNabb by the end of this season. The only problem is, would you trade him in your division if you're the Golden Knights? That's probably not going to happen, but still something to keep an eye on. And that is it. So to round up real quick, we got Brock Boeser, Ryan Strome, and Phil Kessel as the forward options that seem to be sparking the most interest on the trade block, as well as some defensemen, Will Butcher, Ole Mata, and Brady McNabb on the back end as terms of names that could find their way out of their cities and going somewhere new. So guys, let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Guys, as always, thank you so much for watching this video, and I will see you again next time.